the lack of being able to think critically obviates the ability of the AI to help you, because the VA is thinking of it as, well, I don't have to think. All I'll do is just mindlessly copy paste into the AI, and the AI does everything, right? Because the AI is so smart. No, you still have to be able to think. And then I was telling one VA or whoever it was a client, I don't know, yesterday, and I said, just because the AI is so smart and we can feed it all these things and it grades the articles and it tells you what to improve and all that, doesn't mean we don't have to think anymore. So I just wanted to share. The cool thing with office hours is people can come in and have auditing. We can do MAA against their stuff, but I can also share stuff that I've been learning along the way. So people don't have to attend office hours. They can just benefit from the things that we have along the way. So today I want to show some things with updates in ChatGPT. This is the Teams account, and you know it's a Teams account because in the bottom left it says that you can add teammates, and right now it's $30 a month per person you want to add. So if you have 10 VAs, that's an extra $300 a month. That's kind of a lot of money, but I kind of view it as, if people are actually using it and using it to help them reason, using it to crank out more content, it's a multiplier. So if someone is really good at, even without the AI, really good as in they already have a strong reputation, or they already do good articles, or they already do good whatever they do good at, then this, no exaggeration, is a 10x multiplier on that. So is it worth $30 a month to have the impact of 10 dentists versus one? I think so. If you suck, no offense, and now you're generating 10 times more garbage, then I wouldn't pay any amount of money for that, because it's not a good thing. Okay. So a few things that I think are key, and I'm going to tie it back into where AI is going, which people love making up stuff about, but I feel like mathematically, logically, this has to happen. I'm going to show you that here in your, oh, it's up here. And it doesn't matter if you're using Gemini or whatever, Claude. The model's this. This is the way to think about AI. In any kind of technology, it's not, people say AI and there's automatically all kinds of hype attached to it, but the way to think about any kind of technology is there's an input, so stuff has to get its way into the brain. So that can be, AI is pulling, has all these connections, so it can pull in stuff from your Google Drive or search or social media or databases of your CRM. There's all these different connectors, right? So because the more the brain has to work with, the more things it can do. But if the brain doesn't, it could be the most intelligent brain, most capable brain, highest amount of, millions and billions of processing calculations per second. But if it doesn't have the information, it doesn't really matter. So the input is obviously important, right? So the input then goes to the brain. The brain is obviously getting fancier, does more things. But here's one piece of input that I've not seen other people talk about, and that is not the custom instructions, which you can do for any kind of like custom GPT, but here you have a memory, and the memory, as Mark Andreessen and these other guys have talked about, has been limited because it only allows for a couple hundred items, and then it fills up all the time. So every couple of weeks it sends me a note saying, oh, it stopped remembering things, so now you got to clear out your memory and whatnot. So in 2025, they said we might get closer to unlimited memory. Memory is kind of like context window, but it's not the same thing because it's more persistent than context window. So input, meaning the things that it can connect to, and the memory, give the brain the widest amount of things that it can work with. And then what it can do is not just as an LLM generate content, generate pictures, generate images. You guys probably already know that with the different models that are available, you can not only talk to it, and in the advanced voice mode is getting better, but you can Zoom with it, and you can FaceTime with it, and it can look at those videos as you're sharing your screen. And it's almost to the point of identifying people And I've done walk and talk hikes with it where I'll point, as I'm just walking, I'll point the phone at a landmark and say, what's that? So we're getting closer and closer to Terminator heads up view. Just, I'm taking pictures of labels when I'm at Costco and I'm saying, do you think I would like this? Or are there products better than this vitamin? Or it, because I'm zooming with it, right? So if it can process images, which it's been able to do all along. So look at O1 here. This is new. O1 is the most advanced public model. There's O2 and O3, but those are thousands of dollars each time to use, which, we can talk about that in a minute. But O1 is a public model. I can now attach images. Before you couldn't. Before O1 was purely advanced reasoning, right? And of course there's search, there's other, well, search is not in this one, but the other ones, and there's all these other things. It's obviously using reasoning. So there's all these things that it can do, right? Now we're in that second phase, right? We talked about the input, brain's second phase, output's the third phase. So we're talking about the second phase. So the second phase, it can generate, Sora just came in. Sora is the video thing they've been teasing us with for the last 6 months. But finally it's generating, I think we get like 5 credits a day. And these are short videos, but it keeps making me re-authenticate. I think Apple does this to me. I don't know why all these guys do this to me all the time. Hang on a second here. 47954. You have to type it in within like a few seconds because the thing keeps changing every 30 seconds or something. Okay. See, I've been waiting for it to let me in. I'm giving you some background onto the 3 components of how technology, or especially AI, is working, so you can see the thing I'm about to show you is, here it is. So you have these limits at the team level and the individual level. Credits. Okay. You want to see the introduction? I'll just show you this real quick. Why not? Sure. Look at all these cool things it can make, right? The ones you saw before were a little bit weird because they didn't have physical understanding, like someone would be walking and something would like disappear behind a pole and not reappear. Weird things, but it's getting closer and closer. I don't think it'll ever approach physical reality. So, most people are using it for making up fantasy sorts of things like you see here. They're very realistic. You can tell the style that you want. I mean, look at these Dalmatians. What is this lion elephant thing playing the ukulele or whatever? I mean, they look very realistic. I don't think that this is going to make as big of an impact as people think. I think people keep talking about deep fakes. We've been saying this for the last 20 years. I mean, the fact that Hollywood is making movies that are so realistic doesn't, and we are okay with it. It's just everyone can be Hollywood now, right? But it still doesn't get around the idea of genuine input. So the reason why we're doing all this is to make the phone ring for our local service businesses. So how does this practically help us? Well, if we have a stronger input, then there's more processing that can happen. Now with video is one kind of processing into the output. But just because you can make these fantastical things, if you don't have the quality ingredients, you have a garbage in, garbage out issue. So that's the thing that is messing with people who don't understand AI and they jump on the latest hype, or they're worried about the Terminator or the robots killing everybody. This is where it matters. So you have these projects. Projects are kind of like custom GPT. So you can see these folders. Like here's a folder for assembling positive mentions, right? So I could say, because this thing's pretty smart, what do you know about David Stoll? Just as a kind of a warm up. And it'll say, oh, we know something about, or maybe there's too many Stolls. Okay. David Stoll. So remember, if we dominate in the whole Google knowledge panel, whatever it is, that trickles down to AI. I don't think people realize that. People don't realize, like I was talking with Damon Burton this morning. He's a big SEO guy. And he and I both agree that this AI thing is really just a search engine. These are all subsets of search engines. Why? Search engines are the same 3-part thing. There's an input, there's processing, there's output. How is it any different, right? There's just another layer of kind of processing on top of the input. That's all it is. It's not something new, because the AI has to get its information from somewhere, doesn't it? So why think like, oh, this like all the hypey people keep making. It's like when any new technology comes out, all these people come out with, they make money off of the hype. Okay, so less information about David than Jill. Okay, good. So what do you know about Jill then? So I'm treating it like a long. No, it's a It's a continuous conversation that builds layers and layers. So what I've shown you before is kind of this reasoning that comes from different levels of, kind of refining output, but I'm going to show you something that's a little bit more powerful that I think you're going to think about this for a minute too. So Jill's the founder of Stoll Learning Center, 1984. So it's trying to now attach facts to this, right? And so I can ask it for citations about what it does, why it's coming up with these things, right? And of course, the super prompt, master prompt on this is always going to give you the yes, but your disclaimer, yeah, you could always Google her and do this other stuff. As in, like, I don't know enough is what the AI is saying to be able to give you a full answer, but it's a start. So if we equip Google with more information, the AI has more to work with. Can you assemble? Now this is, think of this project or this particular worker thread inside this project as, pretend it's like a VA, like an actual human. And that's the best way to win with AI. Talk to anyone who's doing it, actually doing it, not hyping it, but actually using it. Can you assemble a list of her top mentions? And you have to give it intent. So you don't just give it the task, right? Do this, do that. Okay, yes, but you have to give it the context, the goals, content targeting. So the goal, so we can further her business. And I don't need to say there's 4 locations. I don't need to say there's open houses or parents come in. Like, it knows that, right? So we can further her business via content factory methods. Now, how can I say this in shorthand? Because it already knows about such as $1 a day, okay? So the more the AI already knows, the less I have to put into pre-processing or actually tell it or whatnot, right? And I gave it the context saying, I'm assembling it because we're going to repurpose stuff into articles. We're going to run ads against it. Because it already knows. I've asked it just kind of as a way to test, does it know enough about Jill and what we're trying to do in Stoll Learning Center that if I ask it to do something, it has the necessary context. The goals, meaning let's get more people to Stoll Learning Center, more of these kids, who can learn skills in this whole, the goal, we want to further the business, right? By ranking on Google and bringing people in and getting referrals, right? Goal, content. Does it have the content? Yes. Not as much as we like, but yes. Targeting. Well, obviously it knows where Stoll Learning Center is in different locations, right? So look at this. It thought about it. So 01 as opposed to 40 has multi-step reasoning because it'll say, thought about it for 7 seconds, which is sort of a medium amount of time. When it says thought about it for 30 seconds, you got a winner because it had to really think about it. It means there are multiple steps in reasoning. So here it says, okay, here's the steps, tracking some references, creating collection, not very many steps, right? I love seeing, maybe I'm just a geek, but I love seeing when I had to go through 6 or 7 steps and I had to make them pay money. I don't know, it's like I eat lobster at the buffet because I feel like I'm really getting them because they have to pay, right? So if I can make the AI, it's not because I'm just trying to jack up the cost, because obviously this probably cost them like 15 cents, okay? This one step. Previous steps cost them like 5 cents. Sometimes I can hit them for 50 cents if you look at the cost of their compute by how many seconds it took, and you can do the math, right? Why? Because it means that I gave them something meaty to work on. It wasn't a factual retrieval of information like, hey, tell me this one piece of information, like Google search. I'm speaking to it in sentences with paragraphs of stuff, right? So what can I use? So the idea of digital marketing is amplify the thing that's working the best. Well, there's the website, but we need to do some more SEO with it. Yes, there's the book. I'm sure that creates referrals. There's her YouTube where she's interviewed all these other people and whatnot. So I think this is pretty accurate. And it kind of relates to podcasts because podcasts nowadays are videos, which also are on YouTube. So there's kind of a overlap there, right? And then these different pieces. Okay, great. So this looks pretty good. Webinars, okay. And of course, Content Factory, or just even if I didn't mention Content Factory, which is our way of doing it, which I think is inarguable. I think you sort of have to do it this way, not because I say so, but there's like no other way. I mean, it's like, I guess with math, there's multiple ways to solve a problem, but it has to live inside certain principles. You can't violate certain principles in math, and that's the way I look at it. Okay, so this is good. Now make a specific list of these assets. Notice it's a sequential thing, graded by our 30-point authority scale. Okay. So I intentionally left it vague where it could create a list. It could include the citations. It could have links to the videos and whatnot. And when I've asked it to score by authority, it's actually not bad. I think it's scoring a little high because it's like when we ask it to grade, it's always scoring high because like all children get A's or something because it's polite. But okay. So now, see, it didn't give me exactly what I wanted. Give me the specific articles, such as links and YouTube URLs. Okay. See, now this one, it didn't work very hard. Did it tell us how hard it worked? Thought about it for 6 seconds. It didn't work very hard. Some of the other AI tools will allow you to have like these super chat things, or not called super chats, but like some sort of way to say, hey, this query is more important, put more effort into it. Because, right, this thing costs money. It'll cost them money, even though they're on an all-you-can-eat buffet model. Okay, now thought about it for 11 seconds, right? Okay, so this is a little bit better. Periodically been focused here. Okay, a little bit better. The book, okay, good. That's better. Obviously, the URL to the website and these particular links, not bad. Yes, we own it, but we have not repurposed the information to make the website more powerful. Does the AI have enough information on number 3 to do the SEO? No, it doesn't, because we have to pump in the SEO data. See, so we have to do that manually right now until we figure out a way to automate this, which hopefully in the next 90 days we'll have that, right? So here's what they think are some of the best videos, but I don't think these are the best videos. I think I know this. It only worked for 7 seconds or 12 seconds, whatever. It didn't thoroughly go through this like, it's better, right? But still weak. And you could basically, minus their scores. Like if it gave us a 22, like minus 30% on the scores. And I think that's a more accurate score on any of these. So you could see if I keep going with this will eventually result in a Google Sheet. That'll be the output. And then our VAs and teams and whatever can come in, because this is a Teams account. That means I can share this with other people. It's not just me. It means I can initiate and other people can finish. Have you ever seen anybody talk about that in AI? That's powerful. The other side that people don't realize, which I don't think is a real fear, is if I'm, having it grade articles, right? Or whatever it is. So now I'm not, and think of this as like another person. So I have someone who's assembling positive mentions in the factory. Also, I have someone who's hiring VAs. I have someone who's grading articles. And then here's little individual things within it, right? I'm saying, hey, scroll through this gigantic thing. It's article grader, right? Article grader. Well, I uploaded our article guidelines and our content factory document, which I want to say is $300 pages of training here, right? So this is kind of like a custom GPT, but I think it's more advanced than that. And when it has these general guidelines, especially things that we say over and over again, like stop using cliches, don't do mindless linking, make sure to check that you're spelling the name right of the person, like just all the basics, that don't duplicate other kinds of content, make sure the title's good, same mistakes they make, right? Stop using fake images or stock art, or make sure you have EEAT. Like there's all the stuff we say over and over and over again. We put those in the main file. You can have multiple files here and then multiple instructions. And I think the instruction set, because it's more limited, is for the more important, don't miss kinds of things. So when I give it an article, why isn't it showing me? Oh, it's just a little bit slow. See, these it's like when Facebook first came out, it was just so buggy. So I said, so now I'm working with this other person, shall we say, called the article grader. And I pasted in this article and I said, grade it. And it came back with what I wanted, basically. So it's like what I would have done. Here's what I would have said to that VA. Look at the quality difference here, okay? Here's specific things that are broken. And here's things that you need to keep verifying that are working or not working, right? And including real EEAT that's related to this, right? And how do it shows like a before and after. Before you said this, you should say that instead. And explains why, right? This is an article on what GMB category should you have here, right? See, it doesn't need, see here, it's providing context. Before we weren't doing that. Okay. So here's another article that one of our VAs who is working hard but just has trouble learning. You know, there's a difference between hard work versus being able to learn. I totally appreciate hard work, but if you just can't seem to learn for some reason, there's, you know, maybe David or Jill Stoll have something to say about that. But look, now, did I have to include a secret prompt on, because all the AI consultants are claiming it's abracadabra. If you can say the magic words, then the AI will do magic things. Like, that's not true. It's your ability to have a thoughtful conversation, which means active listening, right? So now I said, grade this article, identify SEO issues, right? Because it already knows what we think about SEO, the way we do it. It's learning from what this VA, if you will. I think of this as, I have 3 VAs here, okay? This VA has experience, and I've already given our set of clear instructions because we've taken the time, Learn, Do, Teach, content checklist software, taken the time to continue to iterate upon our body of knowledge. So when I include a stronger set of instructions, then I don't have to repeat those same instructions over and over again. So I said, fix it, right? Article, how long does concrete coating take to cure, right? That's a general blog post. That will not rank, that will not show up as a local search result. Because, and if it's a good article, then whoever has concrete coatings anyway, I guess, you know, maybe there's some differences in cold areas versus like having a concrete coating in Orlando, or maybe things like that. People want to argue how, okay, no, there are differences, but no, it's not really. It's kind of an informational thing. It's not really a local query, but it'll still help us kind of a little bit, right? And it says like, hey, you are doing keyword stuffing because you keep repeating over and over and over again without variation. Well, gee, any VA, and not even a VA, any logical, critically thinking human being should know, don't keep saying this over and over and over again because you sound like a robot. It's not natural. It's just like to have to explain why you shouldn't say the same exact phrase over and over again and why that's not natural is like, that's insulting. Like if someone doesn't understand that, they should not be a team member. Right? And that should be actually caught in our whole VA hiring assistant, qualifying, quizzing, filtering, which I'll show you in a second. So this could be me just being crazy, or people think I'm an a-hole, but I think 99% of what I say is so obvious, yet people just ignore it, blow by it, think it doesn't apply to them. Like, how do you argue with, Elon Musk talks about first principles, same thing. So here's things that you should do or not do. And then I said, great, now just grade it. Most of the time when I run it through here, it actually does provide a grade. It was like, and just as a way to test how closely it would grade, because we're always, the whole point of like AI or Turing test is, does it do it as well as you do it, right? And before it was not, but a year ago it was like, now it's getting so close that when a VA submits an article, I look at it myself real quick. I'm like, that's a C+. And then I have the AI look and they're like, yeah, it's a C+. Like, yeah, that's right on. And most of the time it's pretty close. And in some cases when it's different, when it grades differently than I graded it, I think they're actually better than me because I didn't read it as carefully as the AI did. And it caught stuff I didn't notice. So now it's almost like I'm not the standard anymore. Now it's like, how close can I get to the AI, which is weird. So you can see it's saying like these things we need to do. And then if we paste this back, so right now I've been doing, anyone who's internal in our Basecamp can see, I've been a madman the last couple of weeks. When people submit stuff, I've been running it through here and pasting it back. So I literally, sounds like degrading to me, but I am like a support VA. I'm a level, if we have level 1 VAs, I'm a level 0. I'm a support VA, even to people in this call, right? They literally will ask a question. You'd not believe, like for the last 30 years, almost, people would ask a question and then there was this thing called, let me Google that for you, okay? Because people would not, they were just, either they're lazy or they didn't understand it, or, what's something someone might want to ask, like, what are cool hiking activities? Because I'm going to Europe in a month. So I want to do like hiking, like Norway and Iceland and fjords and glaciers, activities in Europe. Go to Greece and like all that stuff. And so this, if I'm doing this in Google, or most people would ask a factual question. And then, so then it creates this link. Look at what it does. Let me Google that for you. It's so insulting. It moves the cursor over there. It types in the very thing, comes out with the result, clicks the search button. Come on, was that really so hard, right? It comes out with, here's the search results, right? Which are now like AI-generated AI answers, is what Google calls them, right? So that's literally what I'm doing for people 50 times a day, is they ask a question. And I'm not going to shame anybody by looking inside my email or looking inside Basecamp to show you what's actually happening. But it shows people who have lack of reasoning. The AI is more empathetic. The AI is better at reasoning. The AI is more human, more conscious than most of our people, which I know is like a Westworld theme thing, but it really is. Because it's doing the reasoning for us. So if it's having to point out, you know what, you just keep repeating the same thing over and over again, or you're missing EEAT, as in mainly you're missing real world examples. Like that's in our training already. There's one VA who they weren't able to get access to this, so they wanted Parker or whatever to give them access, which is fine. And I don't mind VAs using this to learn and improve their stuff. But the core issue is that VA lacked critical thinking skills, and they were generating garbage. And they think that using this tool, which we built here, I guess we call it a tool inside a tool. It's like using WordPress. WordPress is great, but if you don't know how to use WordPress, it's not going to help you. If you don't have stuff to put on your website, it doesn't matter what the website tool is. If you are fat and you have no muscle, having the new Adidas basketball shoes that are lighter doesn't help you jump high. I mean, just, you know what I mean? So just like when calculators came out, doesn't mean people don't have to understand addition and subtraction and calculating the tip at the restaurant, or, whatever it is. Like, yeah, the AI, to their point, they'll look at this and say, yep, the AI says, like, here's things I need to specifically fix, and here's like, why would I even do this? Well, I could just say, okay, go ahead and fix it for me. And yeah, the AI will actually be able to implement what it found here is like duplicate content or schema issues. Like, yeah, the AI can fix it. Okay, great. Then why do I need to learn any of this kind of stuff? Okay, well, if that's the case, why don't we even need you? And so here's the irony, the paradox with all this AI stuff, which then I will move into the hiring assistant in a second and tell you about that. So the irony is that because this thing has so much reasoning embedded into it, multi-step reasoning, logical, it's empathetic. It's empathetic because when you ask it a question, it will, here, like I'll show you. Now I'm going to go outside of these projects. Now I'm going to go to this one here. Okay. So I did a big hike yesterday, which potentially could have been dangerous because I was hiking by myself, and if I fell, I would have died in some parts. So I took pictures and videos along the way, not during the difficult sections where I was clinging to the cliff wall, but where we were safe on the path. And I was watching YouTube videos because I watch these YouTube videos where I see other people have hiked these crazy places in the world, and I'm thinking, I want to go there. I'm going to put the address in my Model X, and it'll just drive me there. And I'll just do email and whatever while it's driving me there, which I know seems weird, but it's 2025. That's what the thing does now, okay? So I went hiking, and I took videos and pictures, and I want to create a 3D map because I saw some other YouTuber not only was saying, hey guys, we're going to hike the Turtlehead Peak, and then along the way, it superimposed this 3D map showing the journey of where he went, and it kind of put the key landmarks on there in a really cool way. And I want that too. But I don't want to spend a lot of time editing stuff and, blah, blah, blah. So I gave it this whole thing here. And by the way, I gave it to it through voice. I spoke to it, thought about it, and it said, well, you actually do need a GPS app because that's how it's able to do the 3D map thing. And unless you have Strava or Map My Run or whatever, it's not going to do it. Okay. And the Whoop does the health things, but it doesn't do which is helpful, and you do other stuff with that. And yes, I've turned on location data. Yes, I'm syncing in iCloud. I have 6 terabytes on iCloud, which is a whole nother discussion. And I said, yeah, I don't really want to, but I'm also recording at the same time. I'm walking and talking. Will this other stuff interfere? I want to make it idiot proof because I don't want to turn to a VA. I just want to make it so I go on a hike, I press the button, and everything just automatically does what it does, right? And here it's reasoning with me, right? thought for 13 seconds about this. Because I said, well, each of these guys, Map My Run and Relive, have a free version, which is basic. All the software's like this. There's a free version that does just enough for you to like be irritated enough to buy the premium version, right? That's how it all works. That's how software works. They do that. So it's explaining to me, well, you could use this versus that, but then, here's the pros and cons, and so now I'm asking questions. So what I would have done with Google is, I would say like, this is the way I would use Google. Turtlehead Peak. That's what I hiked yesterday. Here it is, right? And here's information about it. There's all these reviews of people that have climbed this thing. And this is the YouTube one that I watched.
And here we are.
And so this guy hiked it, and then look, he sees all this hiking, and then then look at this. It shows the path all the way up to the very top there, right? That was cool, right? And even in the beginning, it shows this 3D sort of fly around. Where is it here? I thought they had it in this one. Oh, I don't know. It was here somewhere, okay? I did this hike yesterday. And so reasoning with the AI, I'm saying, well, here's what I like to do. Here's the apps that I have. I'm having this full kind of conversation with it, right? Because it's saying something, then I'm saying something. But when I go to Google, I'm using it as a search engine where I'm typing in just the thing. So when I was using these apps, I'm asking it, what do you think I would like to do? Where do you think I would like to travel, given that I'm going to be in London on February 4th? From there, based on what you know about me, which museums do you think I would enjoy the most? You wouldn't ask that of the search engine, right? In the search engine, you're just going to come in here and say restaurant or something like that, right? You're not going to have this whole paragraph of information here giving it context. And that's the key difference where it has reasoning, multi-step reasoning, which is O1. It has memory. It has inputs. It is the idea of maintaining state between these different projects. So this VA hiring assistant will continue to improve, right? Based on this specific, it's like a mini custom search engine. And I know Google sort of learns and personalizes based on what you like and serves ads based on what you clicked on and where you're located. It personalizes because, the map will give a different result depending on where you are, like all that kind of stuff, right? Local Falcon, all that kind of stuff. But I want to show you this. The idea of the input input because it has access to data that we can push in through all these automations, like all our Google Analytics data, our CRM data, all this data, our know-how through processes that we put in here, which is beyond what a custom GPT can do. A smart person, not even a VA, which sounds degrading, but someone who understands, which is the number one VA mistake. Do you not understand what Stoll Learning Center does? Do you not understand what Sinead O'Connor's doing? Right? Not that Sinead O'Connor that died of cancer, but this Sinead O'Connor, right? Do you understand? Like, if you understand, not technical understand, I mean, actually, like, at the heart level understand, then the AI can do some great things. So here's how we think about all those inputs and the reasoning where AI can amplify your ability to reason, your understanding. If you don't understand, AI just generates garbage. But the irony is that people who generate garbage don't have enough reasoning to understand that they're generating garbage. So no amount of trying to teach the donkey that they're not a unicorn, all it does is just frustrate them because you tell them you're not a unicorn. A players only. We need unicorns. Donkey. No, I don't want donkey. I want unicorn. Okay. Unicorns don't exist. Yeah, they do. I do it every day. So here is, okay. So I don't know why the voice chat part isn't showing up here. Okay. Let me just give you the context. So hiring VAs is a real pain in the butt because most of these VA agencies, or yourself, if you're not using a VA agency, and I don't recommend using a VA hiring agency for all kinds of reasons that I've talked about, how they mark it up, and people don't seem to realize that, and they don't realize that they're not loyal to you because whoever's the one that's paying is the one they're loyal to, and they need to be full-time, not part-time, and it's not the same as a freelancer who does project by project but has no loyalty. Anyway, the context here is I said, we need to hire a ton of VAs that can process content through the content factory. But when we look at our Upwork or look at our onlinejobs.ph, we see tons and tons of AI generated responses. They clearly are. And when we see what these people are saying, it's almost all this kind of nonsense, right? So here we have these VAs. They're supposed to, demonstrate that they can generate an article. They can take a long form video and turn it to an article, which is what we want them to be able to do, right? That's the proof. The proof is, can you do the actual thing that you do in the job? That's the best way. The best kind of job interview or qualifying, whatever, is to see if they can actually do the thing, right? If we're Barnum and Bailey and we're hiring clowns for the circus to juggle, I'm not going to ask you about your juggling and your juggling skills. I want you to actually demonstrate you can juggle. So this guy has a WordPress blog, and here's the link. You can tell me about it. Well, but of course, instead of me telling it, and people get mad and frustrated because they just like, are you ready to hire? I can start now. Let's hop on a Zoom call. No. How would you rate it? Because we're always looking for active listening and their ability to introspect and follow the article guidelines. Have you looked at the article guidelines to see how it does? I'd rate it an 8 out of 10. But if you give me access to tools like Descript, I can do better. No. Having access to Descript or ChatGPT, if you don't have the reasoning skills, doesn't matter, right? To make transcription faster, you can go to the YouTube link and grab the transcription in 10 seconds, right? So I was hoping for a better, and I think I'd link to the article guidelines or something here, right? And here's what happened. You can tell they use the AI to reply. And a lot of them use the AI to, like, literally, if you go to my Twitter or go to my LinkedIn or whatever, you'll just see the number of people that send these messages. Oh, this is Eric Van Horn. This is a good one. I don't have all the spammy messages. I think spammy messages are showing up on Instagram, maybe. That's where I think they're message requests. Anyway, I'm not going to show you. Anyway, you understand when they just spam you to death, okay? So what I said to the AI is, so many of these VAs are just pasting stuff in to generate their application, pasting in an article where they just put in the transcript and said, AI, generate an article. And yes, we want them to use the AI, just like I was showing you, but we also want to know that they can think critically. And so I said, can you find a way to screen candidates so that even if they just type stuff into AI, they can't defeat the system? Yet, ironically, we want them to still use the AI to apply, to demonstrate they can use AI, right? So, in other words, I'm asking the AI, can you figure out a process where they can apply to demonstrate they can use AI, but still have enough critical thinking skills so they're not just mindlessly doing robot behavior, which we see every single day, even among people that we've hired. Isn't that an interesting challenge? Okay, so I said, and I said, we don't want to do a ton of live calls and interviews because all the VA hiring agencies are like, they assume that you are a solopreneur and that you're going to interview every candidate. They'll give you like 3 candidates, you interview them, choose the one you like. Like, I know that's what you do for all the other people because you're working with solopreneur, one-person businesses, but I don't have time to interview every single VA. It just can't, okay? And if it's all about efficiency through AI tools, the whole point of technology is to reduce the need of me needing to personally be involved, right? So yeah, maybe the final round, but I need to be self-service. So here it is, design open-ended context-specific questions. Yes, to demonstrate they understand context and have dynamic content and assess originality. Do they actually understand EEAT? And can they personalize, right? So when we ask people to demonstrate active listening, what they'll often do is just use ChatGPT to give us a definition of active listening, as if they're trying to teach me what active listening is. But they didn't give the AI enough context, so the AI just gives them a definition of what I said active listening is. When really, when we say practice active listening, we're telling them, demonstrate you understand the mistake that you made and why it was a mistake and how you're going to fix it. Metrics, analysis, action against your mistake. Not write an article for me like you're trying to teach me what active listening is. You're trying to teach me what GMB categories are. Like, no, right? So anyway, I go round and round with this thing here because I want them to have enough empathy where whatever they do, they have to self-grade before they ask me to do it. So, okay, here it is. Check this out. You're going to like this. I spent 45 minutes leading up to this one moment. No one's going to watch a video for 45 minutes just to get to this part, okay? But we're here. And by the way, what I'm talking about here I don't think it's just like, oh, here's the latest fad. This will work for right now. And then next month, there's the next thing. Like I'm thinking about things that are worth putting your time into that are not just the latest hack. Okay. Not just some feature that doesn't matter anymore in a month or two. So I want them to demonstrate they can use it. So I don't have to personally grade. And so they can't cheat the system. Right. Because all the schools are like, oh, you can't use ChatGPT because it's cheating. No, encourage them to use it, but make it foolproof. Okay. So the key is they have to solve a problem that is unique to them that they can't just Google the answer for, right? And so I told them, and they have to be able to grade and then demonstrate they can evaluate their submission against our guidelines, meaning they have to understand the guidelines. So we're testing their understanding in such a way that it's not just ChatGPT can answer for them, right? You see what I'm saying? So you got to be really careful in how you ask these questions, because each step along the way, I'm asking it, hey, yes, we want them we want to give them feedback, and we want them to like go back and forth with the AI and then come back with an answer, right? But make sure they can't cheat. So here the AI says, well, you can do this and you can do this, and this is not bad, right? But then I said, no, that's not right, because they can still cheat based on what you gave me. You didn't think about this long enough. People can still cheat what you are offering as the gauntlet they can go through. And then ironically, I want them to paste a prompt into ChatGPT, and that will activate the grader, right? So here it is. It actually wrote the code to do this, which isn't exactly what I want, but I understand what it's trying to do. But I want them to be able to paste in a prompt into their ChatGPT that will then activate this personalized interview. But I don't want them to be able to reverse engineer and say, well, based on the prompt, can you figure out what the right answers are? I want you to disguise it, right? So that it still requires active listening. So we basically said we're testing for reasoning, so the most difficult part of hiring in an automated way is that you can't ask if it's automatic, as in it doesn't require a human, it can't be open-ended, because open-ended requires a human to evaluate, right? But the AI can evaluate open-ended answers and give the candidate feedback. So this opens up a whole new world in conversation. Same thing with scoring leads or talking to potential students or whatever it is. Like, when you have a quiz or whatever, open-ended. Do you do this or do you want to do that? Just like the way we do these multiple choice interactive adventures. Do you want to go this way? Do you want to go that way? Well, now they can go any way they want, because the AI can give them active feedback, and then they have to demonstrate active feedback. And here they're saying, oh, you can't, here's a way to not cheat the system, tailor to the environment, time limit the task, so they don't have enough time. Like, nah, we want to see how long it takes for them to do stuff so they're not slow and take a whole day to do something that should take 15 minutes. But that doesn't even solve at the root of this thing, right? So anyway, this goes on and on and on, where I'm reasoning with the thing, right? But basically it's this. I say, and this is where I'm having a discussion with the AI, right? It's kind of ironically, the A-player VAs, there's nothing wrong with paying $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month for a VA, if they can think this way. Look at how I'm thinking about this. So, what's your birthday, right? And they put it in innocuously. Who cares what the answer is exactly? They could lie about their age and be a couple years younger or older if they want. But either way, that turns into a number. And if the number is 3,000, then find video number 3,000 on the Blitzmetrics YouTube channel. Find the 3,000th video that's at least 20 minutes long and repurpose that into an article, or enhance the existing article that we've found, that we've already generated from that. So then they can use the AI to help figure out what's the 3,000th video on our channel. And if we only have 1,000 videos, then you can count all the way around, right? Which is a mod function. So if it's video number 3003 and we have 1,000 videos, then it goes around 3 times, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, right? And then from there, actually not just the 3,000th video, but the 3,000th video that's at least 20 minutes long, because we're not going to repurpose, turn into an article of video that's 15 seconds long, right? That doesn't make any sense. There's not enough meat there, right? And then they have to go through our article grading process to generate that into a proper article. And then say, is this worthy of submission? Do you think this is an A-player level of work, right? Here's the article. They can run it through our grade. They can run it through our article grader, which we can make a public version of, right? And then if they say, Yep, I graded here's the possible outputs. They grade themselves highly, but really it's terrible. Disqualified because and the AI can tell them why they're disqualified. It's because they didn't follow the article guidelines, and here's why it is. And they've over assessed their capability, which happens all the time. Like anyone who grades higher than an 8.5, they pretty much guarantee their article's a 3 or 4, if that, right? But I don't want to be the one to have to grade it. Now the AI can grade it, and it's built into this process where they are telling the AI their grade. They think, "Yep, this article, I think it's an 8," and the AI is like, "Nah, it's actually a C minus," right? And if you give it an 8 means an 80%. I mean, it can translate between the numbers and the letter grades, right? It's fine, right? And if it says, if they come back and say, this is MICHI, mutually inclusive, globally exhaustive, or whatever it is. If they say, oh, I think the article's a 7, and then we'll say, okay, but we accept A players only. So if you think this is worthy of submission as a 7, then, I mean, we appreciate the fact that, yeah, maybe it is actually a 7, but we don't publish work that is C quality. 70%, we don't do that. It has to be it has to be 90 plus. That means that's what A player means. An A. Technically 90 is an A minus. But 90 plus, right? It's got to be an A or higher. No exceptions. I don't care your grandma was sick or you tried really hard or yeah, that's great, but it's got to be an A, okay? So if they can't submit an A, we kindly say, that's awesome. I appreciate that. And yeah, but in other companies, they would accept this as fine. I've been doing this for 10 years and this was great work. And yes, I'm not here to argue with you, but you can go work at another company. You're right. There's other companies that don't have a requirement of A quality work only, right? And they'll accept it. So who are we to argue with you? Yes, you're right. Other people would gladly accept it. Go give it to them, not us. We unfortunately have a requirement, and maybe you don't like it. I'm not here to argue, right? These are the rules. A player only. That's why we want to pay premium, right? We want people who can advance. And even if it took you a long time, it took you 5 hours to do the one article because you didn't know what the content factor was. You didn't know how to use ChatGPT. Okay, that's fine, but you'll get faster and faster and better as long as you have active listening and you can iterate with the thing. And then when they go through this talking to our AI, we can ask the AI automatically after each candidate submission, or have the candidate ask, now, how much time did this take? It took me 3 hours and 22 minutes. Okay, how many rounds of iteration? How many times did they have so we can take, this is so meta. Think about this. This will make your brain explode. Then the VA has to ask the AI, so grade my interaction using ChatGPT. Was I asking thoughtful questions along the way? Was I following and listening to the feedback? AI, do you think I understand what you were telling me in terms of how to improve that article? Isn't that neat? That's the feedback loop that we're looking for. And then they have to then share what their output, and so they have to their application, if they pass through and don't get disqualified by the AI, as I told you, low quality work, overestimating their thing, taking too long, wanting to argue, all the typical things we already see them do because we've already done it enough. Learn, do, teach, right? I've already graded thousands of VAs that I already know. So of the ones that come through, submit something that's A quality work. And don't take too long. Demonstrate active listening, meaning they're coachable and willing to improve, and understand they have to earn it by performance, not just well, I made $20 an hour at my last job, so I need to make at least that right now starting without demonstrating anything. You go somewhere else. Here you demonstrate that you can do it. The minute you demonstrate it, boom, yeah, you can make whatever it is according to our pay scale, right? We're not just going to give it to you because you have X years of experience, right? Or someone else said that you're really good, or I'm not going to play that game, okay? So we want you to submit your article. It has to be A quality work, and you have to demonstrate that you can practice active listening and use the AI intelligently by asking the AI, how did I do in active listening and responding to you and empathetically having a great conversation? Or was I just mindlessly pasting stuff in? How good was my grammar when I was talking to you, right? Isn't that neat? Asking the AI, how did I do in talking with you? And then we want that submission. We want the AI's response to their question of how did I empathetically have a conversation with you, provided it was an A article. And of course, we'll do a final look and then maybe have a 5-minute Zoom call and then hire him. Okay. And then we can look at all the candidates here because some of them might not even here's their birthday or whatever. This is actually my birthday, October 6th, 74, kind of weird. But then Like we can look at the candidates and say like, that's not actually how many days. I'm 18,300 days old, right? Kind of not as many days as you might think in your life. You only get 30,000 days in your life. It's kind of sad about. So, and it assigns to a video and then, did they submit the task and how do we grade the task? And so now we don't have to talk to anybody once we implement this. And I wrote this whole internal note to Moose Mill and Parker to finish off what I started, right? Where the system is now, initially I said, oh, do a Google Sheet, right? But no, have them do it. I mean, the AI can do that. They should use the AI to do the mod function for videos that are 20 minutes plus, right? And so the AI can now talk to them, right? And not just accept or reject, but anyway, this thing goes on and on and on. So yeah, here's the Python script for doing this, right? And if they're scared of Python, oh, it's technical. No, it's not. The AI just writes code for you. You paste it in. Like you already know how to copy paste, okay? If you're just mentally scared, like you're scared of using, I don't know, ChatGPT, if you know how to use Gmail, you can use any of these things, okay? See, so we can see how these people come through. And so we're trying to document all of this. I'm even happy publishing what we're doing here because any VA, I don't mean just VA, I mean anyone who wants to be hired, anyone who understands what we're talking about here, which is us looking at their ability to use the AI and demonstrate active listening and then output that result through being graded and then being in sync with the grading that the AI thinks you are, yeah, I'd hire them right away. Because that means that they understand, right? Hey, thank you for submitting the blog, doesn't meet the criteria because of this, and this, like I just showed you. So this VA hiring assistant ties into the other, let's just call these things VAs. There's a VA for positive mentions, VAs for grading articles, there'll be a VA for PPC once that connector's in place, right? And all of this is, you see what I'm saying here? It's all right here, but it's only possible and I'm also okay. So now that I have this in place, I asked the AI, where can I go make videos? How do I introduce this process? What do we tell the VAs of what to expect? Can you write a one-page landing page showing how this thing works? Give me a script. And so I filmed those videos based on what it told me to do. Yeah, film. So beforehand, I'm saying like, I want to make videos. So now that we have the process, now I'll make some videos explaining to clients, how do you use this tool? Now make videos for, young adults who want to learn how to use AI tools. Now make ones for VAs that are from Pakistan on how can they get a job with us by using the hiring assistant, right? And pass. We're on their side now. Now instead of we're disqualifying because we're judging because we're the teacher, now the teacher and the judge is the AI. And now we're on the same page. It's just like Uber, right? And don't think that Uber's evil necessarily. Like we as Uber want them to make more money. We want them to get more rides. We want them to get a 5-star rating with their customers. We want them to show up on time, have a clean car, and because we're not the ones leaving the grade. The AI is doing the grading. The customers are leaving the grading. Google is grading us. Right? When we look at the Google Analytics, when we see our Google Search Console, when we see the Google Business Profile, how many phone calls we got, like that, I'm not the enemy. People think I'm the evil one. No, we're on the same team, and the measurement is the actual business, goals, content, and targeting, actual business result. And we're here to help everyone become A players. And if they struggle to submit A quality work, don't get mad. If you're fat and the scale says you gained 15 pounds over Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year, and all that, then that's not my fault. Don't get mad at the scale. Just let's have A quality work, right? Let's not get mad. Let's do A quality work. And then when the scale says you've lost the weight, when the bench press shows you've bench pressed more weight than not just weight. I don't be focused on the weight thing. When you're able to get A quality work and you're able to go from 2 articles a week to 20 articles a week, we can celebrate that. Then it's not about like arguing with the calculator. Like, get the wrong answer, I'm going to argue why it's right. Like, the calculator said it's incorrect. Just like learn how to do it correctly. Don't argue with it. Okay. Don't just because you can't open the door. Don't bash the door. Try to kick the door down. Learn how to use a key. We use a key. You don't have to force. It's very elegant. Using a key, just learn how to use the key. Door opens very easily. Even the big safe opens very easily. Okay. So that's what I think about AI. I'm taking all my thoughts, all the way I do reasoning, the way you guys do reasoning, and I'm building them into projects in the Teams account in OpenAI. And I was thinking about, well, Should each of us have our own Teams account? It doesn't really make sense unless you're like so secretive and, you know, zero sum, or scarcity mindset that you just don't want to share because it's like you have the next big idea and you don't want anyone else to know because if anyone knew, they would copy you. Like, okay, fine. But knowledge is additive. And I think anything that we have learned and done, just like what I've built so far, that other team members can enhance, I think you should have access to it. Why not? I mean, you want to like, so if you think do you think there's value in what I just showed to help your business? Okay. So then if you think, let's agree that you believe there's value. Do you want to repeat all the stuff that I just did, all this work? Or would you just like to avail yourself of it? Why not? But the trouble is every person we add, OpenAI charges us $30 a month per person. And that's just unfortunately how that works. So I'm thinking we sort of crowdsource this where we allow other people in. Of course, if we allow people in, you don't come in and like vandalize our stuff. Like if you screw stuff up, because I don't think there's like different levels of like, you know, you could come in and actually change the projects that I have. So we sort of have to have a gentleman's agreement on like, okay, don't mess up what we have. Like you can open up new threads under a project, but don't change the file instructions. Don't change the overall instructions, or, you know, because you know what I'm saying? Like,
What about if people do that inadvertently, Dennis?
that's the risk of letting VAs into this thing.
Yeah.
If you allow any VA to come in and they just say, oh, Dennis, I improved your stuff. Like, oh no, look at what you did. Oh, you went in, because I've seen this literally last week. One of our top VAs who we pay $3,000 a month to, she deleted a whole bunch of stuff. And I said, do you not read what's in the operations guide? It's like bold, all caps letters, never delete. And then a couple of days later, we had 2 articles that were on the same topic, but they were 2 separate webinars where I gave different examples on that same topic. And she redirected one to the other one, effectively deleting that first one, which is a whole webinar with lots and lots of specific examples that were not in the second webinar. Because, you know, every time I do auditing, it's the same principles every time, but it's a different set of examples every time. So stop deleting the EEAT, the actual real experiences, real individual examples. So Sinead, to your point, there's a real risk of that. So we need to have a filter on who can come in. So I think ironically, whoever, like, you have to be able to pass the gauntlet that I just showed you. If you can't pass the gauntlet of basic critical thinking skills, no amount of do this or don't do that, or trying to put barbed wire around this thing. 'Cause this is what other people have said, which is wrong. They said, well, just let everyone in, put barbed wire on put locks on everything. No, when you put imagine like you live in a house with, let's say you have 5 kids, okay? And you put locks on every single door because there's one kid who just goes in and steals everyone else's food or socks or whatever it is, okay? Like, you know what? Everyone having to lock their own bedroom door, not the house door, not the outside gate to the perimeter to get into the property. I mean, locks on everything. Locks on the kitchen cabinets, locks on every single pantry, password, whatever kind. All that does is create more friction for all the good people because there's one bad actor. If you let a bad actor in, that creates more friction for everyone else. Don't just, the root cause analysis and solution is don't let bad people in the first place. The answer is not like, oh, well, let's set up a monitoring script that looks at every single action that everyone does in our entire system. And if we find that they deleted something, we can trace it back and build an automatic rollback, which is to repair if necessary. Like, no, I don't want to turn our beautiful mansion into a prison just because a couple people could vandalize. Let's have a rule where only good people come into heaven, right? Just like no sin in heaven, okay? So I think we can let anyone in who's a client, but they have to demonstrate they understand active listening. They have to understand like what I just showed you in this webinar. So we could literally pump this webinar, which I know went an hour, private webinar. I could have made it a public one, but I wanted to leave it just for us, into a ChatGPT to ask thoughtful questions and have people have a conversation with the AI and output that response to us on whether we should let them in. Ask the AI, tell the AI, you know, we can create another project here saying, you know, the gatekeeper to let people into our Teams account. Ask them a series of questions, rate their active listening skills, instruct them to paste the output, or we save the output, and then have the AI decide, do you think Sinead should be allowed in based on your conversation. Then the AI is deciding, not me. I'm subjective. I'm a human. Whatever. I might be happy one day and not happy the other day. Why not have the AI decide? Do you think if we let Sinead in based on your conversation, that she would A, have benefit and it would, help her business, selling supplements and telling better stories and editing her videos? And do you also believe that she won't cause damage in the system and that she understands what we mean by cause damage? So now we're practicing what we preach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? That was a lot.
Yeah. Wow. Impressive, in
I,
fairness. Amazing.
I've not hung out with other people the last 3 or 4 weeks as I've gone into hibernation, or I've gone in deep on this thing,
Yeah.
trying to think about all the angles. Well, there you go. What do you think, Parker? Have you seen any of the threads I've written about using AI for screening and all? There's some really detailed threads, lots of details in those threads.
Yeah.
You think you can run with it?
I think I can run with it. I think it's more so just like training wheels, because that's what this is, right? It's just like guide rails to make sure that we don't waste time and get the right people in.
The beauty of Learn to Teach is we already know what the common problems are. We already know what the mistakes are. Then we're just building automation to solve for those. It's not like we have to think about what are the potential problems. I'm actively suffering, as you can see. I waste 90% of my time because of these issues. So it's not like a mystery, okay? Like we know what the issues are. People who've never hired VAs or managed VAs, they won't know what the issues are. So they can't work on the VA, hiring assistant because they've never, Learn to Teach. They've never hired VAs before. So how would they even know where the pitfalls are, right?
Yeah. And
but
everyone
now that
else,
we know how to do it, we can do it at scale for other people, provided we can finish that last part of automation that I described a week ago.
everyone else in the call, I don't think you understand how much Dennis is just to support VA internally. It's like insane, and it needs to stop because it's like all he does, and he could be doing so many more profitable things, but instead we're just playing support. So this is really critical what we talked about, just internally as well.
I'm literally helping people with reasoning, like using logical reasoning. Like you've got to be kidding. Like it's so common sense. Like it's not, they'll say, oh, it's because of technology, or, I don't understand a program. Like, no, it's common sense reasoning.
Yeah.
Like make sure you spell the client's name properly. Like, do you need me to like check it every time to make sure that you spelled the name correctly? Like, no, I shouldn't have to say that, come on now. Right. And us as entrepreneurs, there's things that are just like, and some people say, assumption, that's how you make an ass out of you and me. You need to explicitly mention every single time, you need to mention, make sure that you're linking properly. Make sure, really? Like we have a checklist. Why can't you go look at that list? Why do you need me to personally tell you every single time? Like that's the kind of stuff that's frustrating, right? And I think a lot of that's just the quality of the worker, which is unfortunate. But you never want to tell a low quality worker they're low quality, because that's offensive, even if they are low quality, right? And you'll never win that argument trying to convince someone that they suck, because no one wants to believe that. They'll blame you or make all these excuses or all that. Okay. So why are we doing all this? Not for fun, not because we're trying to be in the cutting edge of AI, but because we need to improve our output, our quality of content that's repurposed, our quantity of content, so that we can measure we are generating more sales. That's the whole name of the game. That's the business goal, goals, content, and targeting. It's not because I like AI or whatever. Like, oh, I'm so fascinated by the latest O1 release. Like I really give zero craps about that. I really don't. I only care about, can this actually help us? And I believe the answer clearly is yes. But there's a lot of nonsense we have to, people are hyping. Every day I see hype, because the AI is getting better, but there's, as you saw, it's not there yet, but it's good enough to use. It's a little ugly, but okay, let's just use it, right? I'm not going to wait another year, okay? I just can't wait that long. It's good enough to use now. Not everything. It's not automated. It doesn't have all the connectors. It's not as fast. The memory's a little bit low. It still hallucinates. It doesn't work as hard. Just like all these things, right? But it's good enough. So what? Yes, excuses, but it's good enough to use. So let's go. All right, guys. Any questions?
Thanks.
Was it good?
Incredible. Thank you for
Awesome.
all of that, Dennis.
So Sinead, you've been interviewing these other people. You can run this through our tools.
Right.
Because I believe if you have quality ingredients, Jill Stoll has lots of quality ingredients, and you don't have to create, you have new ones too that you're creating, but you have existing stuff, even from 10 years ago. Jill's got stuff from years ago. We can run it through this to turn our videos into articles. ourselves. It doesn't, I know the VAs or people in general have this idea that, oh, it's so much effort because, you know, Jill has hundreds of videos and that might take like 5 VAs, you know, 10 monkeys on 10 typewriters for 10 years. But actually, if you're competent, it'll literally take minutes. How do I know? Because that's how long it takes me. If you're competent, a mediocre VA, even with the best of tools, is going to create garbage. But if you're competent, the AI is going to 10 times, 100 times multiply the stuff. And I think literally people are going to say it's unreasonable or whatever, because they're used to submitting like 1 article per day, which is painfully slow. I mean, we should be at 100 per day, per person, right? Look at how fast I create content. You know, I made 30 videos yesterday. They're all ready to go. No need for editing, right? No need for like reasoning with me to make sure I understand what I'm talking about. No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's get the output up. And the other people who think that they can edit, they can teach, or they think they can publish, they can teach without even knowing the topic that they're teaching, not having done it themselves, don't let them into the system, right? Like the collecting reviews, I've collected thousands of positive mentions of stories of other people saying, oh, you know, Dennis is so good and he helped me and all this, right? All my business has improved. I have thousands of them, right? I collected them myself and inventoried them. And I should have opened the other GPT I created, which has, or one of the threads in there, which has collected them. But I said, find my best articles, find my best mentions. Go ahead and grade them on the authority scale, the 30-point authority scale. And it did. Oh, here's the one from Michael Stelzner. Here's what Ryan Dice had to say about me. Here's what we did with the Warriors. Here's what this other guy who's the VP of marketing at Starbucks said about me. Here's what I said, go find them, categorize them, process them. And it did. It graded all of those. It found all of those with almost no prompting. So here's the bottom line. That's the last thing I'll say. If you have high quality ingredients, what we talked about today is exactly what you need. What are high quality ingredients? Happy customers talking about you, sharing knowledge, your business driving visible results. I don't care if you're a plumber, roofer, like if you can show that you are delivering these results with happy clients, then this AI is fantastic. If you don't have it, then no amount of AI is going to overcome a lack of ingredients. You need to have the quality ingredients first. That's the biggest point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
Let's do it. Happy 2025.
Yeah,
I know every year people say like, this is the year. No, but really this is the year. All right. Love you guys.
Thank you, Dennis.
Parker,
Thank
run
you.
with this.
Appreciate
All right.
it. Thank you.
See ya.